FNAF timeline. I've never touched the game, so let's just see how this goes.
But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching.
Hey you. You look like you're interested in some FNAF lore. Sick of all the speculation? Do you want something that's undeniably canon?
No.
Oh. Well, that's too bad. I'm telling you anyway.
God damn it! Here we go. An undeniably
The year was
canon.
1983. January, to be exact. Local nobodies Henry Emily and William Afton were walking down the streets of Hurricane, Utah, when suddenly they noticed that not once in their life have they ever caught a glimpse of a yellow grizzly bear. It was then their fates were sealed, and they knew that they must fulfill their destiny. Henry and William were something of robotics enthusiasts, so they finally used their untapped potential to create the most realistic animatronic bear imaginable. On their first attempt, they made a decrepit, muddy yellow bear with giant teeth and claws.
Okay.
This wasn't realistic.
No, it wasn't.
William, however, remembered that in the trunk of his car rested a cluster of discs that could emit audio frequencies that would fool people into seeing real bears. They slapped those bad boys on this animatronic, and suddenly it took the form of a beautiful golden grizzly.
Aww.
Named Ferdinand von Bernard. Not only did he look the part and have a voice like honey butter, but the mind-altering audio accidentally gave him sentience and cosmic power beyond our human understanding.
Oh god.
This was very dangerous.
Yes.
But the partners in furry shenanigans were not swayed. That is, until the entire town evacuated at the sight of this golden beast. Turns out, people are scared of loose bears. Who would have thunk it? Of course, this
Really?
wasn't for nothing.
Oh,
Ferdinand
no.
was caught dining on a local restaurant owner, and he fled from the crime scene before law enforcement could get to him.
Why have you said, oh no, I'm
They
scared?
had been a slight bit overzealous with their first creation. Good thing is, literally nobody knew or cared who they were, so they got away with this scot-free. Later that month, they designed an animatronic simply based on Ferdinand's likeness. This character was quite a downgrade, being both simpler and stupider.
Perfect.
Nothing mattered to the duo, though, as they loved their creation, and with that, Fredbear was born. At first, they had nowhere to actually put him.
You
so
have
they
day
opted
shifted
for
for
the
this
dog.
one.
He was truly a diamond.
I guess.
in the rough. Amazingly, this attempt at entertainment was amusing enough to the citizens of Hurricane that they gave William and Henry enough money to afford a recently vacated diner space.
Oh, nice.
Fredbear was going to be a star. Unfortunately, the
Freddy
animatronic was
Fazbear.
extremely poorly designed, and their attempts at granting him artificial intelligence quickly turned sour.
You dum-dum.
February 31st, 1983, his first performance on stage in front of children prompted him to spontaneously combust from a nervous breakdown.
Oh.
William and Henry, heartbroken at this tragic event, cracked
Poor
down
Freddy.
to ensure this would never happen again. This also prompted William to threaten the United States government, and they met his demands to strike February 31st from the calendar forever. After
What?
that, they set their sights on making something with no flaws. But then they made spring-lock suits. In an attempt to both ease the animatronics' nerves and not allow them their legally required breaks, Henry and William created mechanisms that could lock the endoskeleton parts to the inner edges of the suit for a person to climb inside and cover for the character. For extra safety precautions, they created a partner for the new Fredbear 2.0 to ease his nerves. For some reason, the best name they came up with for Fredbear's partner was Spring
Thanks for the
Bonnie.
hydrate, Nix.
William was insistent on this name, and Henry felt too
Spring
foolish
Bonnie.
to argue against it. Where the safety precautions ended, however, was the fact that the spring locks holding the endoskeleton pieces away from a person's vital organs were made out of paper clips, and the lightest sneeze could set them off. Truly brilliant inventors. those
Making
two.
sure I'm right
The
here,
dynamic
'cause the
duo
start
had now
was a fan
created
game.
a dynamic duo. William was the only one who had the nerve to actually test the springlock suit, and it turned out he enjoyed dancing around as a yellow rabbit a little too much. Henry
Very.
was unbothered by this, though, as William was still perfectly capable of handling their finances in character.
Perfect.
A few months had gone by, and Fredbear's Family Diner was an absolute success.
Nice.
Not only were Fredbear and Spring Bonnie beloved by the now enlightened Mormon population of Utah,
Why is there a villager?
managed to lock in a deal with a low-budget animation studio in order to make a cartoon called Fredbear and Friends. The one downside, though, was the studio needed more characters and they refused any more yellow ones.
Aw.
Out of obligation, Leopold, Theodore, Mirabella, and Foxy were created. No, Mirabella's not yellow, she's Xanthophyll.
Ah.
Just seeing things. Surely
That's
this
happened to me
life and
before.
Everything William and Henry stood for would never see the light of day in any other context. William and Henry were
that
at their peak.
Foxy?
And finally regained
I'm
custody
learning.
of his children. However, one of his sons, whose name has been stricken from the record, glanced into the back room of Fredbear's and saw Fredbear smoking a cigar. Fredbear's blatant nonchalance about his respiratory health was truly traumatizing for the child. In a panic, the child started to run out the door but accidentally tripped over the foot of Spring Bonnie. Unbeknownst to him, the animatronic was being worn by Harold the janitor, and this collision was enough to snap open the flimsy spring locks and impale Harold every which way. Harold,
Oof.
heartbroken by his untimely demise,
Really?
lost his backup fursuit, transformed into pure agony, and he became a shadow creature. He gave himself a really cool name, but unfortunately he never learned how to spell, so it came out like this. Shockingly okay with witnessing this occur, the child went home and invited his older brother, Michael, to play a game of Uno with him.
Not Uno!
There was foul play. This child was actually just a terrible human being and slid extra cards into the deck, causing Michael to draw 8 turns in a row.
Wild.
Michael threw on a foxy mask and started
Oh,
to
100%.
the child. The child, annoyed by his behavior, decided to humor Mike until he got bored of doing this and pretended to sob 24/7. Maybe, just maybe, this would guilt trip him. However, Michael was far more resilient than the child anticipated, and this behavior kept going for a whole week. The child, craving literally anything else to do at this time, walked into Fredbear's again in an attempt to face his fears before getting cornered by Trevor the cashier wearing a Fredbear suit. The child
Not Trevor!
for this, as Trevor was holding a map for a mediocre dentist's office in his hand, and so the child deliberately ran into Trevor to set off the spring locks in his suit.
Wild.
Spirit,
Trevor's
relieved by the matter in all honesty,
killed
and
two.
A more chill shadow creature that just kind of walked around convincing people to join his conga line. The child returned home, completely okay with the fact he just killed a man, and told his Fredbear plushie everything he did. The next day, Michael and his Uno buddies barged into the child's room
to my
to take
friends.
Fredbear's for his birthday. The child was still committing to the crying act, but this was a bad idea, as it just made them come up with the idea of shoving him in Fredbear's mouth.
Oh, God.
So, that's exactly what they did. They mockingly told the child to give Fredbear a big kiss, which the animatronic took immediate notice of. This was a very dangerous situation for his career, so without thinking, Fredbear clamped down his jaw on the child's skull. This terrified Michael and his friends for about 5 seconds, until the child hopped out of it unscathed. William and Henry gave the animatronics rubber teeth.
Oh, that's
Great
good.
Safety feature. The child was livid and threatened to do the job again. Mike didn't really know what this meant, but it sounded scary enough for his buddy Jeremy Fitzgerald II to knock the child unconscious with a chair. This only distressed Michael more, so he rushed the child to the hospital, where he was diagnosed with a mild concussion. When the
Oh,
child
God.
woke, he looked at Michael and told him that he never existed. When Michael asked what that was supposed to mean, the child fused with him and turned a little bit paler. This was just a very bad day for Michael.
Not
William
Michael!
told William about it. William had no clue what he meant by little brother. He told Mike to stop making up stories, trash that disrespectful mask, and take up engineering. This sounded good enough for him, so that's what he did. But, turns out, the employees at Fredbear's called the police because Harold and Trevor's bodies were just laying on the floor, and nobody cared to do anything about it until right then.
So,
the restaurant
they've
was
been
shut
died for
down.
days!
News media blamed it on the bite of 83 in order to abruptly end Fredbear's career.
Aw.
They were just jealous. William and Henry were back to square one. Because of the abundant controversy and investigations, they
It was
laid
Michael
off
all
for
along who knew it.
years. But in 1985, they finally opened a new location. With the amount of money they had earned from Fredbear's, they were luckily capable of buying out a new restaurant space with ease.
Hey!
Unfortunately, Fredbear was publicly executed 2 years prior.
Aw.
So, William and Henry did the unthinkable. They made animatronics of the cartoon characters they had made out of reluctant necessity. Leopold was their immediate decision for the new mascot, as he was
Nice.
actually a bear.
Nice.
Even golden, but he would do. But that name didn't exactly resonate with the public, so after 5 seconds of brainstorming, they renamed him Freddy Fazbear. The initial
Perfect.
plan was for him to be partnered with Spring Bonnie, but William refused to work with any type of grizzly that wasn't golden. So
Ripperoonies.
we opted to rebrand Theodore to simply Bonnie, and that worked well enough. However,
Perfect.
making these two characters so derivative of their superior counterparts worried Henry and William, as the public could possibly see through their ruse. So they added another character to the band to distract people, Mirabella. Given the fact that she didn't have overtly feminine characteristics, though, Henry and William renamed her Chica to make sure any Spanish speakers knew she was a girl.
Perfect.
There was one last cartoon character they could use.
Foxy the Pirate.
This was a gimmick that the Fredbear and Friends show added to drive up ratings. Henry was fine with the concept, but William hated it. For the time being, the partners settled on shoving him in the corner of the
Aw, poor Foxy.
The 3 they actually tolerated. After opening the location, however, the two quickly realized that children didn't actually care about the 3 stage performers. Something about theming being more interesting. As more and more children flocked around Foxy's Pirate Cove, William immediately ran up and kicked the poor animatronic in the
Oof.
ribs. This put him out of order for the time being, and William tore him up after closing to ensure it would stay that way. Somehow this didn't scare anyone away, and everyone just immediately piled back over to watch Freddy sing about bullfighting.
Whoa,
Henry
big up
and
Freddy.
William were truly living the life. They lost their beloved gold.
Okay. That... I get it was a joke. It was a joke video of FNAF, but it was still weird. Nonetheless. Right.